Listen, stop allowing people to take advantage of you. If there's something this year 2025 has taught me, especially during the beginning of this year, is that in life, you shouldn't actually be afraid to be the villain of someone else's story. When I say being the villain of someone else's story, I mean that you shouldn't be a people pleaser. You shouldn't be someone who tries to be loved by people. You shouldn't be someone who tries to be liked by people, because at the end of the day, people won't actually end up liking you regardless of you being true or you being fake. People won't end up loving you regardless of you being true and you being fake. But as long as you're true to yourself, as long as you're real to yourself, that's all that matters. Because the moment you actually try people pleasing, the moment you try forcing yourself to be liked by people, the moment you try forcing yourself to be loved by people, it just ends up not working, because you're forcing something which cannot happen. You're forcing people to give a part of their free will to you, and that will never work. If God Himself cannot force us to love Him, if God Himself cannot force us to choose Him, if God Himself cannot force us to please Him, if God Himself cannot force us to like Him, who are we as humans trying to force people to please other people? Who are we as humans trying to force people to love us and to like us? It will never work. And even another thing in what I mean when I say like we shouldn't try to be people who people please and be villains of other people's story is in the sense that we shouldn't allow people to take advantage of us, like I said in the start of this video. We shouldn't allow people to use us, and even us as ourselves, we shouldn't use people in order to gain what we want, because that will just end up making us be transactional with people. We won't be relational with people. We won't have something unconditional and genuine with people. And yes, it's true, majority of us human beings, we are conditioned to actually conditionally love people. But the more you actually get to know yourself, and the moment you get to know God, you actually just start getting a certain type of love that you know you won't need other people to validate you. You won't need other people to like want to like you, even want to hate you, and want to love you. Like you'll just walk in your authentic self. You just walk in your real self. That's what it actually means, you being the villain of someone else's story. You're not trying to people please someone. You're not trying to force yourself to be liked by people, to be loved by people, or even to be hated by people. You're just walking in the true, genuine, and best version of yourself, because you have actually gotten to know yourself, and you have gotten to know your worth, and you have actually gotten to know what you actually want in life, and you have actually gotten to know whom you actually want in your life. And this actually ties to us being kind people instead of nice people. Because nice people are people who don't have boundaries. Boundaries in the sense that nice people don't have standards. Sorry to say this, I'm just speaking facts. Nice people don't have morals, they don't have principles which they stand on. Because once you have morals, principles, standards, core beliefs, values which you stand on, that actually determines the type of person who you are. That determines your direction and your guide of how you live life on a day-to-day basis. Because at the end of the day, we all need to submit to someone. We all need to submit to a higher deity who knows better than us, which is God. I don't want to force my beliefs on anyone, but me personally, I believe in Jesus. So his beliefs, his standards, his principles, and his morals are the guide of my life, are the ways of me living my life on a day-to-day basis. And nice people don't tend to have this. Nice people tend to want people please. Nice people tend to be narcissistic. Nice people tend to just want to use people to gain something in return, or nice people just tend to want to be used by people just anyhow. And that's something that's actually really bad, because that means you don't have something to stand on. That's why the Bible really emphasizes on us to stand firm in the faith. Standing firm in the faith is in the sense that your faith is what you are submitted to. Your faith is like the will of God. Like, let's say that. Because once you stand firm in the faith, once you stand firm in the will of God, you will know how to move each and every day of your life. And that will make you not be a nice person. That will just make you to be your own person and to be the authentic person that you are in the best version of yourself, and you will not try to please anyone, but you will try to please God. Why? Because you know that your faith stands on God. You know that your values stand on God, and that's whom you'll want to please every time. That's whom you'll want to please, not please, guy. That's whom you'll want to please each and every day of your life. So actually get to know where you want to put your faith on. Get to know where you want to stand firm in your faith. Because once you actually do that, you won't tend to be a nice person. You won't tend to be someone who's going to be walked on. You won't tend to be someone who wants to use people or allow people to use you. And this is where kindness comes into place. Because kindness is actually a fruit of the Holy Spirit. And kindness has boundaries backed up with it. And those boundaries are now the values, the principles, the morals, and the standards of God. That's what kind people do. That's who kind people are. Kind people are people who live life based off boundaries, in the sense that they don't try to please anyone. Kind people don't please anyone. And if there's something I've realized is that kind people are people who actually love people regardless. They are so gracious, but they are very cautious on the type of energy they allow into their lives. Why? Because that's what boundaries do. Boundaries allow you to actually be very conscious of who you want to allow in your life, the type of energy you want to allow in your life, the type of places you want to go in order to allow a certain type of energy in your life. Because kind people have direction. Kind people are people who stand on what they believe. Kind people are people, like I said, have boundaries. They have morals, they have standards, they have principles they stick by, and that's what keeps them focused. They don't try to please anyone. Like I said, they don't try to be loved by anyone. They don't try to be liked by anyone because they already know that their kindness comes from God. Like I said, kindness is a fruit of the Holy Spirit. So they will seriously want to just show love to the God whom their kindness comes from. And that's something that's very true. So actually, don't try to be someone nice. To be honest, no one actually likes someone nice. Because if you tend to be someone nice, you'll just be used. You will just be walked on. But if you're someone kind, someone who actually has boundaries, someone who actually has standards, principles, morals, backed up with that kindness, you will know how to operate. And people will be drawn to that. People will be attracted to that. Because nice people tend to force things upon people, but kind people don't tend to force things upon people. Kind people just attract things to them. Why? Because their boundaries limits them from knowing who they want to be in life and whom they want to allow in their life. So actually think upon this. Actually meditate upon this. Like, do you believe that you're a kind person, or do you believe you're a nice person? Because kindness is backed up with boundaries, but niceness is not backed up with boundaries. And always remember, the devil always masquerades as an angel of light, seeking who he can devour. Because at the end of the day, the devil is always self seeking. But kind people are never self seeking. Because at the end of the day, love is patient, love is kind, it does not boast, it does not envy, it is not self seeking, it does not rejoice with evil doing, but rejoices with the truth. And love bears all things, hopes all things, believes all things, trusts all things, endures all things. Bless.